Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about Helm. So what is Helm and why we need Helm? What is the benefit of Helm? So Helm is we are having a package manager in Dotnet. Similar to that, Helm is also package manager. And benefit, if I will talk about the benefit, so let me show you uh, we created some web API in previous sessions and you know, we executed multiple commands to create our deployment and services. Let me list out all that things here. So this is our MVC application. So for example, you know, when I want to create a deployment, I need to run like kubectl apply, then if, and then I need to give the file name here. Then again, if I want to create a service, then again I need to give this file name here, like mvcservice.yaml. For example, we are having a config map, like in our web API, we created config map also. So I need to give that file name as well. We created ingress, so I need to give that file as well. And I need to consider the sequence also, like in this sequence only I want to create all that stuffs. But when we are using a Helm, this all thing can be taken care by Helm, and we just need to run only one command for the Helm, that is Helm install command, and everything is taken care by Helm. So that is a one benefit. And another benefit is, let me move to our web API project first so that I can show you what is the benefit I'm talking about. So let me move to this location, and this is our web API. Yeah, so this is our web API project. So if you remember, let me open our deployment file. So let me copy this. So if you remember, we have defined few environment variables in our deployment file. So this is our deployment file, and if you will observe here, we have given this, ASP.NET Core environment as hard-coded development here. We have hard-coded this base URL as well, and many other things, like if you will come to this database, we have hard-coded username, passwords, and even in the config map we have hard-coded the connection strings as well. But in the real time, you will have multiple environments, right? And when you will hard code that things in your deployment file or in your service file or in your config map files, then each time whenever you will move from one environment to another environment, you need to change the deployment files, right? So to resolve this, in the Helm, we are having a values file, and then there you can segregate your actual values, like for example, this connection string in the values file, and your deployment could be take that values dynamically. So you can have n number of values file for each environments, and then you can tell, like if I'm moving to test environment, then take test environment values file. If I'm moving to some other environment, then take that environment values file, so that you can define it. That is possible with the Helm. So that is another benefit of Helm. Now let me clear this. And how can you install Helm? So this is a Helm documentations, and here you can find the instruction to install the Helm. It's very straightforward, and I used, this is a script which I use to install Helm in my Ubuntu WSL, and in my machine Helm is already installed. So you can also follow these documentations, and you can find the instructions to install the Helm as per your operating systems and environment, how you're running it. So you can go through it and install the Helm. And once the helm installation is completed, you can run any helm command. Maybe we will run like helm version command. So this should give the version of the helm, and we can confirm like helm is installed in our machine now. So now that's done. Like helm is installed now. Let's see how we can move our deployment and other changes to helm. Like we are having this all this file, right? Let me list it out again. So like deployment, ingress, and many other things we are having. So how we can move that to the helm? So let's me move to this location, not in the KTest location. So let me move to this hello Docker simple test locations, and let me clear it again. And what I'm going to do is I will create a Helm chart at this locations. I can show this in the visual code for better understanding and visibility. Let me open this. So here we are like hello Docker simple test. Here we are, right? And we were having our KTest folder here. So at same locations where we created KTest folders, what I'm going to do is I will create our chart folder, and multiple helm commands we are going to use and learn it. I'm not going to explain it in the all at once, but we will use and we will understand how we can use that commands. So first command we are going to use now is helm create command. So this command will create basic helm structures for our to create a helm chart. And this command takes only one parameters. We need to give the chart name. So maybe I will say like chart as a name, and let me hit enter. So if you will see here, like here we don't have any chart folder, right? So once I will execute this helm create chart command, it will create one chart folder. So let me hit enter now. So we can see that it is saying like creating a chart. So let's move to Visual Code again. So we can see that chart folder is created, and under the chart folder we are having like templates, and under the templates we are having deployment files, HPA ingress, and few other files which we will discuss in our upcoming sessions. But for now, let's focus on this deployment files and service file and values file. So this values file I want to show because we discuss about the one of the benefits of Helm, right? Because we can segregate the values. So if you will observe here, we have defined some values like, for example, image, and we are saying like repository is NGINX. And let's move to our deployment file. So here, if you will go to container, and then we can see that like image is taking care from values.image.repository. So we have not hard coded that image in even the tag, and instead of that we are directly taking it from the values. So we have segregated the values from deployment so that it will be easy when we are moving to the different environment. We can create the multiples, like this one is values.yml. Maybe I can say like test.values.yml and pro.values.yml, and different values I can create as per my environment and need. So that is very good benefit of Helm. So now let's move back to our terminal. We have used helm create command, and that created a basic structure for helm. And before making any changes as per our .NET applications, by default helm created as we already seen, like by default helm created nginx image and the services for nginx. So let's try to install that same what helm created by default, and let's see if I'm able to access it and is it working or not. So let's let me run ls command here. So here you can see all the structures and the chart folder what we have created. And now I'm going to run the second command, which is helm install command. This command is used to install the Helm chart. Previous command what we used that will create the basic folder structure for us, but that will not install Helm. But with this command we can install Helm. So Helm install, and after that first parameter I need to give the name of the installation. Maybe I will say like K8s API, and then I can give where my chart is. So we are at this folder location, right? And chart is under this folder, right? So I can say like dot chart, and let's hit enter. So we can see now like my deployment is successful, and we can see like revision is one. We will talk about this also in some time. Now let's run kubectl get pods command. So we can see that this KTS API chart is a new bot is created, and let me run kubectl get service command also. So here also I can see this new, sorry, this one. I was confused with this one. That one is our old service, but yeah, this one is created. Now let's try to access the application, that NGINX application, if I'm able to access it or not. So I can say minikube, like minikube service, and then I can give a name like KTS API chart, and let's hit enter. So minikube has shared one URL with the port. Now I can open this, and we can access the NGINX successfully. So my uh, first Helm installation and is successful, and I am able to verify it as well. Now to avoid any confusion, let me stop this first, and let's uninstall our MVC and web API application what we created in our previous video, so that we will have only a resource which we are creating through Helm for better visibility and understanding as well. So, and we can understand like how difficult it is, or how time, I will not say difficult, but how time consuming when we are using a kubectl command to install or uninstall, and how quick it is when we are using Helm. So that difference also we can able to understand when we will do perform this exercise. So let's move to our KTest folder. Let's list out everything here, and let's first delete our deployment that is having a service and ConfigMap as well in one file. So it will delete all that stuffs. So I'm going to run like kubectl delete, and then if, and I can give this file name. So here we can see that like it was having two deployment, that two deployment was created, service was deleted, and two service it was having that was also deleted, and config map is also deleted now. Now let's run kubectl delete for our ingress as well. And let's move to our MVC application also. So let me go to our MVC application what we created in previous video. Let's delete MVC deployment as well. Kubectl delete F, and I can give the file name, and then this service as well, kubectl delete F, and then this service name. Okay, so now I think we have deleted everything what we created in previous video. Let me clear this, and now let's run kubectl get all command. So we can see we are having only one spot which we created for NGINX, and this API chart as a service, this is also we created, and one deployment only. Now we saw like how many commands we executed to delete everything. Now if I want to do same thing, if I want to remove this deployment service, etc. through Helm, so I need just one single command, as I mentioned, like helm, and as to installation we used command install. Similar way, if I want to uninstall something, I need to use command uninstall. But what I want to uninstall, I need to give name of our chart. So if you don't remember, how can you see what is your chart name? For that, you can use another command, that is a helm list command, that will list out all the helm charts. So let me hit enter now. So we can see that our chart name is K8s API. Now I can run helm uninstall command again, and here I need to give name of our chart, and let's hit enter. So now we can see like it is uninstalled. Now let's run kubectl get all command again. So see, with just single command we are able to delete the deployment, and we are able to delete the service and other stuff as well. So it is very quick with the helm, right? So now I think this is a time to convert our .NET application to using a Helm. So as we have already uninstalled everything, and when we are running kubectl get all command, we don't see any resources as well. Let me run kubectl get all, so I can see I don't see any resources installed. We have uninstalled everything successfully. Now let's move to our application, and let's move to this K8s folder what we created in our previous video. And here if you will see, we are having deployment for one for our web API and another deployment for our database. Then there are two services and one config map we created. Similar to that, we are having this ingress service we created for our MVC and web API applications, which will route to web API and MVC with this path. And we created this even volume as well. So now, what we can do is, like here we can see this database and config map, right? This config map. This I will create as a separate Helm, because database can be used for multiple applications as well, right? So I can keep it is at some common location. Similar to that, this config map related to database, also I can keep it at some uh, you know global location, so common locations. And similar to that, this ingress is also not specific to our API. It is a common type of path we are defining. So I will move this ingress also as a common chart. So what we are going to do is, we are first let's create one common folder, and there we are going to create a common chart, and that will deploy our database. It will create our ingress service, and it will create a config map for us. So basically what I did is I created one common chart folder here. You can see this common chart. Currently it is not having anything. And let's move our terminal to this place. So maybe I will say cd So currently we don't have here anything, right? And now uh, I am going to create a helm chart. So we need to use one command to create a helm chart, right? What is that command? Yes, correct. That's a helm create. And after that, I need to give name of the chart. So maybe I will say common chart, and let's say KTS. And let's hit enter. So this should create one common chart KTS folder. So let's move to our visual code, and this time we can see this new chart is created. We are seeing the templates as well, deployment file and few other files. Now this deployment we are going to change with our database deployment. So if I will move back to here, let me close these other files, and this is our web API deployment, right? And this one is our database deployment. So here we can see that we have specified the volumes, and this is the image we are using. So let's go one by one. First thing, we need to modify the volume, right? So I can maybe copy this thing, and let's move to this deployment file. And if I will go to so here you can see this volumes, right? So directly we are appending the all YAML text directly here, right? It is taking values.volumes, and if it is exist, then it is appending that YAML here in the volumes. So let me open values.yaml file, and let's search for volume here. So here we can see that it is as a empty array, and let me replace this commented code with the whatever we copied from there. So I will paste it here, and let's align it properly. So okay, now go back to here. We are having volume mount as well, right? So let me copy this volume mount and paste it here. If you will see here, we are having similar to volumes, we are having volume mounts as well. So let me remove this empty array, and I can replace this commented code with the volume mount, and let's align it properly. Now next thing is we are having this Postgres image we are using, and tag is Alpine. So let me copy this, and if you will see here in the deployments, if you will search for image, so here we can see that image.repository we are getting it right. So let's go to image here, and under the repository default image when we created helm is a NGINX that we are going to change with our Postgres image, and tag we are going to use is Alpine. So let's copy this Alpine tag here from here, and I will give it here as Alpine, and this pull policy I will change it if not present to always. So now let's go back to our creators folder. Now we have changed these volumes, we have updated the image. Next thing is we are running on port 5432, and if you will search for port here, so we are getting a port from service.port. So if let's move to this values.yml file, and here we can see that port is 80 but we need 5432, so let me change this to 5432. And additionally we are using few environment variables as well, so let me copy this and paste it in our deployment file. And for now maybe I will remove this liveness and readiness probe check. And here I will paste the environment values. And let's align this. Okay, but again if you will see here it is hard coded, right? Username, sorry, password, username and database name. In this PG data it is hard coded, but I should read it from values, not from the deployment, so that in future if we are like in our test environment we are having some other username and password, and in my other environment I am having a different username and password, so it will be easy for me to change, because I can have multiple environment values file and I can use it as per our environment need. So let's change this hard-coded values, and I am going to create one env here, and under env I will say db user name, let's say SA, then db password YouTube, and then db, what else we are having? Password is YouTube, username is SA, db name and pg data is there, so db name, let's say employee, and then pg data, and let's copy this. Now we have added this in the values file, so I need to change this to read from the values. So similar as we are reading the, this port above, similar way we can read the other things as well. So I will say values dot env dot, and if you will see what is a password, it is db password. So let me copy this and paste it here. Similar to that, let's copy this and add for Postgres username. What it should be, it is db username, so let's copy and add it here. Then again let's copy and add for the database name, and that we are taking as a db name. So let me copy this and add it here as well. And now last we need to update for pg data, so let's replace this here, and then I can copy this pg data from values and I can replace it here. So great, now even this is not hard coded and we can change these values from values file, and we can have, when we are having multiple values, then it will be very easy to move our deployment. Now let's go back to our deployment again and see if we have missed anything. So I think it is the deployment is looking good, and remaining thing we can keep as it is what we are having in our deployment. Next thing is we need to create a service. So maybe let's go back here, and here we can see this templates, and here I am going to create one service.yaml file. We are already having the service.yaml file, I'm sorry. So we don't need to create it. We can use this service.yaml file. What when we created our Helm chart, we are already having this service.yaml file. And I think we don't need even the to make any changes as well, because we can see that port it is reading from the values file, type it is reading from the values file, and other stuffs, and even label our selectors is also as per our requirement. So we don't need to make any changes here, and our service is working fine. So now next thing is we need to create one config map. So let's create one YAML file here, and I will say maybe config map.yaml. Oh, let's change this to small only, and here I can copy this config map things. But in the config map also, few things we need to change, right? Because if you will see here, this host what we are using, that is the service name what we created. We are creating it here. So now it should not be hard coded, and it should be valid service name. This port and other stuff is should also not be hard coded, because we have defined this in our values file. So now let's slowly change this, and if you will see this service name, and when we are creating this service, we can see that we are getting a service name with this. So I can directly copy this, and I can add this service name here. Similar to that, if you will see this, port. So how we are reading a port in the our deployment file, if we will go to here, we can see that we are reading a port with this stuff. So let me copy this and paste it here. Let me copy it correctly and paste it here. Similar to that, this username, password, and database also we will change it. So how we are adding it here, password we are adding it like this. So similar way I can add in the config map also. Similar to that, username, let's change this to and DB name also. Okay, so even now we have refactored our config map also, and we don't have anything hard coded here. So now most of the things are looking good. So we can install our Helm. So let's move to our terminal. Let me list it out, and let's move to the chart folder itself. And suppose we want to make sure before installing the chart, whatever we edit, it's rendering correctly, or it's looking good or not, or it is coming correctly or not. So what can we do? Yes, there is another command we are having. It's a helm template command, and then we need to define our folder where we are having a chart. So we are under the chart folder, so I can just give dot here, and if I will hit enter and if I don't have any errors, so it should render all my templates. So we can see that now it created some test connections which we are not using it as of now, and this deployment is created, and here we can see that image is Postgres Alpine, pool policy is always, port is 5432, and even that username and password what we have created is coming correctly uh, from the values file. Similar to that, this mounts path and volumes are coming as expected. And if we will see our config map, even in the config map also we are seeing the correct service name now, and port, username, password, etc. If you will see the service name, release name, common chart KITS, which is coming correctly in the config map as well. And now it is not even hard coded. So if it is looking good and if you don't see any error, then again you can run command helm install, and then you can give the chart name. Maybe I will say hello DB KITS, and then the folder path. So we are inside a chart folder, so I can just give dot here and let me hit enter. So this time we can see that revision is 1 and it's deployed successfully. Now let's run helm list command. So we can see one helm chart here, and let me clear this and let's run kubectl get all command. So we can see that view new service is created, deployment we can see that, and pod is in the container creating status. So if everything is fine, then our pod should also be done in a few seconds. So let's give it some time, and after that we can run kubectl get call command again. It is still in the container creating status, so let me wait, and then we can run the kubectl get all command. But for now let's clear this, and now let's run kubectl get all command again. So this time we can see that even our pod is also in the running states and we don't see any error. Our service is available. We can see our deployment as well. So now let's move to our .NET applications, and here we can see that we have updated our database deployment right here. This is our database deployment. So this is we have updated. This database service is also created. Now it's time to move our .NET Web API stuffs to Helm chart. So let's move to our application here only, and last time we created this chart and we tried to execute this with the NGINX as well. So similar to that, this time again we are going to uh, you know change the image and other steps what we did for our database deployment. So let's come here, and here we can see that this is our image name. So let me copy this and let's move to our values file. Let's change this also to always tag is 02, so I should give 02 here. Port is 8080, so I need to update the port also in the service, so it should be 8080. This service we created not a cluster IP kind of service, we created as a load balancer, so let's change this to load balancer. And I need this other stuffs as well, so let's copy this. And let's go to our deployment. And here also for now I am removing this liveness readiness check that we will cover in our some upcoming session. Let me realign this. So this, these two things maybe I will change it and read it from values file. So I will create as we did for our database, same thing again I'm going to create it. I will say like env here, and under the env this is a base URL, so maybe I will say base URL. It is web API similar to that env. Under that I will say maybe environment, and that maybe development. In this we will read from values file, so I can remove this hardcode values. Env, and then base URL. Let's change this also to environment. This is because we did not change the ConfigMap name and key last time when we created. Let's move here. So still that key is employee DB connections, and even name is hello KTS demo. So I think I can keep it as it is, like hello KTS demo and employee DB connection. So I'm not changing it. Now let's move to our deployment. What else we need? Replica, maybe I will this time I will keep only one replica. Service is we already updated our values file with the where is service, yeah, with the load balancer and port 8080. So here when we generated our chart, this service is already created and it's reading from that values file, so we don't need to make any changes here. So it's looking good now. Let's try to run the helm template command and see if we are getting any error, and let's review our template. So let's go to our terminal, and I'm moving to the our web API folder. hello docker simple test. Yeah. Now let's clear this and let me list out the contents here. So we created this chart last time, right? So now let's run helm template command, and then I need to give the path of our chart. So it is under chart folder. So I will say chart and let's hit enter. So we did not receive any error in our like our templates render correctly, and we can see the port as well, port 8080, and here we can see that environment and base URL is also coming correctly. And let's see our service. So it is a load balancer kind of service that is also coming correctly. So we can install it. So let me try to clear this, and instead of helm template I will run helm install command, and I need to give name. So maybe I will say hello Kubernetes API, and let's hit enter. So the deployment is started. Now let me run helm list command. So I can see that hello DB Kubernetes and hello Kubernetes API, these two chart we have created. Now let's clear this and let's run kubectl get all command. So we can see that even my other pod is also running, and we can see two services as well, two deployment as well. So before we will change our MVC applications and we will create ingress and other stuff, so let's try to run our web API and see if it is working or not. So let me run as we are running on minikube, so I need to tell like minikube service, and I need to give my service name to access it in the browser. So what is my service name? My service name is hello Kubernetes API chart. So let me copy this and let's paste it here. So minikube will give one URL. With that URL I can access it in the browser. So this is a URL shared with the minikube. Now I can say swagger index.html, and my web API is loading. And now let's try to run execute command. So even my database connection is also working as it was working before with the helm. Now only two things is pending. We created MVC applications right in our previous videos. So we need to convert the deployment and other stuff using a helm, and also we need to move our ingress file to our common helm chart. So that two things we are going to do it. So let's start with our MVC application first. So this is the MVC application we created in our previous video, and uh, we did not change anything. This is just a default MVC applications with the default controller and other steps. So we did not make any changes on this. This is just a default applications. I think only thing what we changed here is like if you will come in the program.cs file, we just added this base URL, because when we work with ingress we found like we need to define the base URL when we are using ingress for path based routing. So we defined the path base here. This is just single change we made in this application. Apart from that, it's a default MVC application. So let's move our terminal to this location. Let me open our terminal here and let's change the path. Let me clear this. So here we can see like I came to this root path where we are having this KTest folder, solutions file, and this test MVC folder. Now what we did for web API and even for common applications, we generated a chart, right? With one command, helm command. What was that command? Yes, correct. That command was helm create. And then I need to give some name here. So I will say maybe hello, or let's give name as a chart only so that it will create a chart folder under it. And let's hit enter. So we can see that it is saying creating a chart. And now if I will observe here in my MVC application, I can see this new folder chart has been created with the same deployment file which is using NGINX in the values. If you will see here, where is images? Yeah, this one. Okay, so our chart files is created. Now it's time to change our deployment to use this. So let's go to our MVC applications here in the KTest folder and open our deployment file, and here we can see like we are using an image Dubey Tapan 12 hello MVC app slash 2. The tag is 02. So let me copy this and I can add this here in place of image, and tag I will say 02, and here also I will say like always. Port is 8080. So let's go to service port. Here I am changing it to 8080. Apart from that, we are using this two environment, like this one environment variable as well. So I can copy this and I can add it here. Let me go to container here and I will remove this liveness and readiness pro for now. And instead of this hardcode values, we will read it from the values file. So let me copy this and paste it here, and I will create one env there, and then I will say base URL. Now here I will create env and I will say base URL, and then I can give like /mvc. So our deployment is looking good. What else we created? If you will go to this KTest folder, there is one service. So service is already like we created ClusterIP kind of service. And if you will go to this templates, here we are already having this service file, and that is also reading a port from service.port. So and the type is also we are reading, and I think we are having a cluster IP in the type, so that is also correct. So we don't need to make any changes, and I think with these changes our MVC helm changes are done. I can go back to terminal here, and now I can run command helm. What command I want to run to verify the templates? Is it generating correct or not? Yes, correct. I can run template command. And then where is our chart? It is under the chart folder. So I will give /chart here. And if I will hit enter, if everything is fine, it should generate the template. So yeah, it's generated template, and here I can see the deployment, and even in the this base URL value is also coming correctly, port is also coming correctly, image name is also coming as a hello MVC app :02 as a tag, and even this service is also coming for port 8080. So changes are looking good, so I can run command helm install. Then I need to give name of the helm chart, right? So I will say maybe hello k8s MVC, and then I need to define where the chart is. So I will say ./chart. So I need to define the path of the chart. So it is ./chart. And let me hit enter now. So it is done, and we can see revision 1. Now let me clear this for better visibility. And if I will run helm list command again, so this time we can see this third helm chart is also available now. And now if I will run command like kubectl get all, so this time even I can see this MVC pod is also up and running with 32 seconds before. And I can see this one more MVC service as well. And I can see this new deployment as well. So this is good. Now what else we are missing, right? When we created this ingress file as well. Not this one. Let me go to K8s folder. So this is the ingress file what we created earlier. So same ingress file we will create with helm. So let's move to common folder, because I don't want to keep this ingress file in web API or MVC applications because it is for both. So maybe I will keep this in the common helm chart. So this is our common helm chart. Let me close all that things here. And here we can see already one ingress file is there. So I need to tell like if ingress is enabled or not first thing in the values file. If it is enabled, then only this file is going to render. Now let's go to our values file, and here I am going to change this enable to true now. And in the host, if you will go to our ingress file, we are having tapandubey.com, so I will give same tapandubey.com here in the host. And for path, let's copy this. Maybe I will copy from this place because we are replacing entire path, so maybe I will copy all of this and Here I will replace this. Save this, and I need to give correct name of the service as well, right? So if you will see here, our services name, like our API service name is Hello Kubernetes API chart. So I will give copy this name and I will paste it here. So when path is web API, I want to use this service with the port 8080, and when path is MVC, I want to use my MVC service. So what is my MVC service name? We can see it is here, and I can paste it. Remaining thing is not needed. Let's go review our ingress one more time. Okay, so now let's move to this common folder. So let me change my folder location in the terminal. Let's clear this. Let's list it out. So this is our chart folder, and now let's run helm template command again before running a helm install to verify what exactly it is going to generate. So I will say helm template, and where is my chart? It is dot slash, and then I can paste it. This one, right? Common chart KTS. So I will paste this one and we'll hit enter. So it generated our YAML templates, and here I can see this ingress file. I can see host, path is web API, then this is a service, and port I can see it is coming incorrect. It is giving 5432, but I am expecting it as a, you know, 8080. So why it is incorrect? Let's check this. So it is taking port as a values.service.port, and maybe I will change this to API port. So let's change this to API port. And now in the values, we can see service port is 5432. Here I am going to create one more API port option. In here I will give 8080 now. Let's save this and let me clear this. Let's generate the template again. So this time we are getting even correct port as well. So it is looking good. So I can run helm. So this time we are making some changes. We are making some revision, right? So what command I should run it? Yes, correct. Upgrade command with our chart name. So what is our chart name? If I want to see what is my chart name, how can I see it? How can I list out all the charts? Yes, correct. We need to run helm list command here. So I can see the list of the charts, and I am making changes on this chart, right? On common chart, that name we have given as a hello DB KTS. So I will copy this and then I will say helm upgrade. Then I can paste the chart name, and then I need to define the folder location as well. So where is our folder? If you will run here, we have executed our folder, right? Our chart is under the common chart KTS folder. So I can copy this and I can paste it here, and let's hit enter. So it will upgrade my changes, and we can see this time revision is 2. Now let's run kubectl get all command. So we can see that our all pre-pod is running, and we can see our services is also running. And let's run kubectl get ingress command. So we can see that our new ingress is also up and running. Now we can verify if our changes are working as it was working before or not. So let's see if our ingress routing is working as expected or not. So I will run command curl, and then maybe http colon tapan dubey.com, then slash, and if you will see our ingress file, so slash MVC and slash web API we have defined, right? So maybe if I will say like slash MVC, and let's hit enter. So I think when we created ingress, I think we missed something. Let's see, let's re-render our template and see what was the missing. So maybe I will run command helm template, and then where is our folder? Let me run ls command here, and then I will run helm template, and then common chart KTS, and this is our ingress file. This is looking good as of now. Helm host path is correct. Okay, so here we can see that like it rendered release name common chart kit as a service name, but we were expecting a different our web API in MVC service name, right? But this service name is our database service name, and because of that it is not able to work. So let's see why it is coming. Let me move to our ingress file here. So here if you will observe, this is a loop. We are looping this paths, and then we are appending that values. So if you will go to our values file, and here we are having this paths, right? So under the path we are having all these things. So because of that, two times we are getting, like we added this two path here, so we are getting two values. But we are getting incorrect service name, because we are taking service name as a full name, and this full name we are defining as a common chart KTS full name, which is not correct in our case. So how can we fix this? We what we want is we want this service name and this service name, and also I think this is also not a correct service name. Let me run kubectl get service command again. So this is a service correct service name. So let me add correct service name here. And now we want to read this service name inside this loop. So we are looping paths here. So directly, when we are looping it, then we can read the under the paths element, right? So I can change this, like if you will observe here, under the paths we are having this backend. So I will say like dot backend, and then I will say like service. So maybe I will say dot service here. Then I can give this name, then dot name. So with this change, I think we should get correct service name, so we can run. Let's clear this and then we can run helm template command again. It's rendered. Now this is our ingress file, and here we can see that correct API chart port 8080 correct slash web API, and this is also like hello cat as MVC chart and port 8080. So it is looking good. Now I can run helm upgrade command, and I need to give the chart name as well, right? So let's list all the helm. This is my chart name, and then I will say helm upgrade. Then I can give the chart name, and then I need to define the folder location. So what is my folder locations? I can copy from up. This is my chart folder location. So I will copy this and then I can paste it here. And let's hit enter. So we can see that revision 3 is deployed. Now let's clear this and now again run kubectl get all command. So we can see all three pod is up and running, and let's clear this again and then run kubectl get ingress command. So this is also running. Now let's run curl http colon tapan dubey.com/mvc and hit enter. So great, our MVC application is rendered correctly. Now again I will say instead of MVC I will say web API and then API then employee, and let's hit enter. This is one of the endpoint to list out all the employees, and let me hit enter. So we can see that we received the list of the employees and our ingress is also working as expected. So that's all for this video. In next video we are going to review few other files which is created through Helm, like horizontal pod scaling and few other stuffs. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video please don't forget to subscribe and share your valuable feedback. Thank you. Have a good day.